Hey guys, Kendall Bonner here. I am so excited as your VP of Industry Relations and Strategic Partnerships. I feel like it is my job and my duty to bring you amazing products, to bring you amazing trusted providers. And honestly, I think we have done it again at EXP Solutions because our goals are to knock it out of the park with bringing you guys the best in class uh, tools, services, and providers, right? So today I have with me Nikki Miller. And Nikki is from Lever, which is powered by Movoto, right? And so want to talk to you a little bit about Lever. I'd love for you, Nikki, to like break down what this tool is, how these agents can implement it, and just really kind of get into the good stuff, the meat and potatoes, so that they can make the best decision for their business to see if it's right for them or not, right? So as we get into this, let's just start with the basics. What is Lever? How does this even work?
Well, first of all, thank you, Kendall, so much for having me. This has been a long time coming, and we're so excited for this partnership. Personally, I'm so excited to be here with you, and so excited to get to provide this to all of our friends at EXP. So, Lever is a first and only of its kind platform, exclusively and specifically designed for the individual real estate agent. So, this is designed to give them all the economies of scale, all the support, all the benefits, all the infrastructure of having a team around them, except for that they don't have to actually join a team and give up their brand or their production. And alternatively, they don't have to build it out themselves and take on the complexity of becoming a trainer or an HR manager, and also take on the overhead of building it out themselves. Because historically, as you and I both know, for individual agents in the industry, that's kind of what was available. It was either you build it all out yourself, figure it all out yourself, you join a team, and or you stay where you are and sort of suffer the consequences of that. And we wanted an opportunity to provide something that was innovated and provided all the support and infrastructure that agents were asking for and just historically weren't getting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, as a former broker owner myself, there's and a team leader, there's only so much that you can provide as a broker or a brokerage, as well as like, to your point, that's part of the incentive of joining a team is that all of this stuff gets done for you, and it's not right for every single agent. So with that being said, like let's talk about the origin story of Lever. Like, how did you even come up with this idea? How, what inspired you?
Well, I think much like any business, it came from my origin story of being frustrated as an individual agent. I remember hitting my ceiling of achievement pretty quickly in business. And I always say you and I both know, I've both coached, I don't know, thousands of agents probably at this time, at this point for both of us. And I always say there's four ceilings that agents hit. The first is the production ceiling, and that shows up when you're doing the same number of transactions year over year, or when you're starting the individual agent roller coaster that we've all been on, by the way, right? I'm managing all these transactions and I'm not able to lead generate because I'm dealing with all of these transactions. And then I close all of them and say, uh-oh, I don't have anything in my pipeline and I'm going to run out of money. So then I've got to rebuild the pipeline again, and so on and so forth. The roller coaster goes. And the second ceiling we usually see that closely follows that one is the time ceiling, i.e., I don't have time for anything other than real estate. I've dedicated my now entire life to this thing. The third that follows that one is usually going to be the income ceiling. And the fourth that follows that one is what I call the energy ceiling. And that usually shows up when I was a broker owner and team leader, somebody would walk into my office and say, hey, I'm totally burned out and I quit. And I always say, make no mistake, I've hit every single one of those. I'm sure you have too. We've all got the bumps and bruises to prove it. And yet the first ceiling I hit was my production ceiling, and I sort of saw the writing on the wall early and said, I don't want to hit those other ones, and I certainly don't want to be on this roller coaster. And so I went into my manager's office one day and I said, well, what do I do now? And she said, okay, well, now we're going to teach you how to hire people, and we're going to get you a coach. We're going to teach you how to fire people, and you can implement all these tools, and you're going to build the systems, you're going to run the database, and you're going to do all this marketing. And I was like, oh, no. I'm so sorry. I don't think you heard me correctly. I'm out of time. And that sounds like a whole nother job. And she said the famous words I've heard so many times in real estate, and part of the impetus for this partnership, because we believe in the same things, but I had heard this so many times, which is, well, this is the way it's always been done. This is how we do it in real estate. And I said, no, thanks. I don't want to do it that way. And I said, what are my other options? She said, well, the only other thing you could do would be to join a team. And that didn't feel right for me. It's an amazing option, but it didn't feel right for my personal needs. And so I said, okay, I don't want to do that. And I said, okay, well, if I don't want to build it myself and I don't want to join a team, what are my options? What else can I do? And she said, well, then I guess you just stay where you are. And what she didn't have to say is that I would suffer the consequences of staying where I was, which is continuously hitting that ceiling and not making any more money and not growing. And so I looked up and said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to do this. And what I realized is that historically, the industry has tried to solve the individual agent's problem by providing more tools. Right. And that's what was being provided to me. If I didn't want to build it myself or join a team, it was just more tools. Well, tools are incredible and can be extremely helpful and can help you be more streamlined. But ultimately, I always say someone still has to wield the hammer. Someone still has to swing it. And ultimately, I just didn't want to be the one to have to do that. I wanted to focus on what I was really good at, which was selling in real estate and being in front of my clients. And I didn't want to deal with complexity outside of that. And so eventually I looked up and said, what are we all asking for? Well, what we wanted was all the economies of scale, all the support, all the benefits, all the infrastructure of having a team around us. But we didn't want to have to give up our brand. We didn't want to have to give up our production. And alternatively, we didn't want to have to take on, like I said before, all the overhead and the complexity of building it ourselves. And that's sort of how Lever was born. And at the time that I started ideating this, I was also the CEO of a very large brokerage doing a couple billion in sales volume a year. And it was there that I realized maybe this is what all individual agents are asking for, right? And what I realized is that so many of them were being delivered the same solution over and over and over and over again. And that we as an industry weren't hearing them when they were saying, I don't want another tool. I want someone to do it for me. And so that's really how Lever was ideated, that it wasn't another set of tools and it wasn't more technology and it wasn't another platform that you had to go and figure out. It is a do it for you model. Lever is a plug-in staff for your entire business, uniquely designed to support the individual agent and all the things that they need to have done in the business, but don't require them to do it. And so, like I said, it was really born of my own frustration. And it just so happened there was a lot of individual agents just like me out there who wanted another way to grow.
I love it. And, I really feel like your passion, number one, which is really, I think, exciting to hear when someone cares about someone else's business so much that they like innovate as a result of it. And like you said, this is an innovative concept and idea and business model that is designed to really look after that unique agent that is in a position where they need services like that. So speaking of that, like if you could identify your target agent audience, like of the agents listening right now, speak to them, like how do they know they're the right one for Lever outside of being
Absolutely.
an agent?
Yeah, I always say we have three pretty common types of agents that join us. The first is the agent who is just drowning under the weight of their production, right? And they know they need to hire, and yet they won't for whatever reason. Like I said before, whether it's that they don't want to take on the overhead, which I totally understand. Turns out doesn't work out so well when you go to your assistant and say, "Hey, I can't pay you this month because I didn't get paid this month," and that's really scary as an individual agent to take on that overhead and complexity in a business that's not always guaranteed. And so those are so many of the agents that come to us that have just hit their ceiling of achievement. They know they need to hire, but they don't want to build it. They don't want to take on the overhead. They don't want to manage the people, but they know they need the help. We get a ton of those people who want to keep on their growth trajectory or just want relief, right? And the second avatar that we typically see is somebody who is sort of stuck in what I lovingly call that messy middle, right? I'm not new anymore and I kind of know what I'm doing, and yet I don't know what I'm doing enough so that I'm growing at the trajectory that I want to grow year over year. Maybe I've been doing the same amount, or I keep getting stuck at the ceiling and I just really want to hit my growth trajectory. And I know that I want to follow a proven path to be able to get there, and that I know I'm willing to do the work and I want to focus on what I'm good at and have everything else that's done on my behalf. And we get a lot of those agents as well. And the third is it's very common for us to see agents who have maybe been on a team in the past or had additional support in the past in some capacity and now want to build it themselves, but aren't really sure where to start. Right. And they're kind of used to having the support around them, but they really want to go and build their own thing, their own brand, their own business. And a lot of those agents will come to us as well.
Oh, that's good. I love that. So speaking of, then why EXP in your mind? Like why is the EXP agent the like perfect partner for Lever? Why do you think this is a good match, in your opinion?
Well, like I said before, I connect with you, with the agents at EXP, with the team at EXP so deeply because you're just not bound by the way it's always been done. And that's exactly what Lever is. It's a new way of interpreting the support that individual agents have needed with a sophisticated but simple solution that helps them to grow. And to me, when I interact with the leadership at EXP, with the agents at EXP, it's a bunch of people who, number one, are not bound by the way it's always been done, who are willing to reinterpret the real estate industry in order to not only provide a better client experience, but also to hit unimaginable goals in the world of real estate, build businesses that people haven't seen before in the world of real estate. And I knew that if we were going to partner, that we needed a brokerage, a team of people who were like-minded and who wanted that same outcome for not only the industry, for the clients, but above all for their agents. Because ultimately that's who Lever was built for. Lever was built for individual agents to help them grow. And we knew that we needed a group of people that were as dedicated to their agents' outcome and success as we were. And like, there's nobody who does that and believes in that like EXP does.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. So, like, speaking of all the things, because we've talked really high level about what Lever is, talk to us about like the support. What does Lever do for this, target avatar agent at EXP?
Yes. Well, now we get into the fun stuff because sometimes people have to hear this a couple times, Kendall, because what I tell everyone often is they'll come to an info session with us or they'll hear about Lever for the first time. They're like, so is it kind of like this or is it kind of like that? And I'll say, well, Lever is first and only of its kind. And it's designed to be a comprehensive platform. So sometimes it helps for me to talk about what it's not and then to talk about what it actually is. So first and foremost, Lever is not another set of tools, not another set of tools for the agent to use. Nothing wrong with great tools in the real estate industry. They're very helpful for the people who need them and want to use them appropriately, but some agents just want it to be done. So it's not a set of tools. It's also not a buffet model where the agent sort of pieces together a bunch of their support that they need. Lever is a comprehensive support system built for the entire business and designed to really be a plug-in, do-it-for-you staff for the entire individual agent's business. So we support the agent's business very comprehensively, and I always call it the big five: coaching and training, database management, marketing, transaction management, and supplemental lead generation are our verticals of support.
Okay, well, that's a ton. So let's break that down. So we've got training and coaching, right? As one of your or two of your verticals, right? Like, talk to us about how's the training work, how's the coaching work? What's the cadence? What are the resources? How does that work for the agent?
Yeah. So one of the most important things that we remember in building out our training schedule is that the hard part for most brokerages or training companies is they're sort of one to many in the form of their training. You just have to produce a lot of training to hopefully get to the people who are ready to hear it and need to hear it and are also at the stage of their business that they need to hear it. Well, what's beneficial about Lever is that we're unique in that we have one type of agent that we serve, right? We know exactly who we're talking to, and the challenges that they face and the struggles that they face don't change all that much. They are also, of course, at different levels of their business, and yet we know exactly who we're talking to on an ongoing basis. We also know the level of support that they all have. So for example, I don't need to do how to build a great marketing suite for our individual agents because we do that for them, right? So there's just a really streamlined process of training. But to break down what it sort of looks like on a regular basis, all of our agents get access to Monday, Wednesday, Friday live calls with us. Mondays and Wednesdays we really call conversation starters, or what I call my favorite one, which is our Bring Your Calendar Day. That's the day that the agents all bring whatever objections are coming up in their business, whatever challenges they're facing, and we just deal with them together. So it allows our agents to learn at scale with hundreds of other agents across the country who are facing objections so that they can prepare for them perhaps before they ever even come up in their business. And then Fridays are our developmental calls. So our developmental calls, as a reminder, we don't take brand new agents. So these aren't brand new agent conversations. They are very high level self-development, leadership development, business development, negotiation tactics, market overviews, market trends, economic overviews, wherein we're training them to not only be better business people, but also better agents to convert at a higher level. We bring in amazing guest speakers. Sometimes it's me training or a member of our team training on whatever their specialization is, but they're all designed very specifically for who we serve, for our individual agents. In addition to that, they also get access to our, I call it our Lever University. It's our library of like hundreds of hours of trainings and past videos, and they get access to scripts there and playbooks, just really whatever they need on their own time. They get access to very specific coaching based off what's happening in their business. So we track everything. So we know the agents' trends and can give them very tactical coaching around whether it's conversion or speed to lead, or whether it's converting from appointment to sale, whatever that might look like. And so they get access to some one-on-one coaching there, group coaching, like I said, conversion coaching and accountability. And then last but not least in this category is our agent concierge. Now I know you're like me because we're friends, and I know a lot of the agents listening to this are going to be like me, where if I call a company, I don't want to listen to the whole menu to press whatever number I need to press for whatever department. I'm the one slamming zero to like get to whoever I need to talk to. And so I knew our agents joining us were exactly like me, and I never wanted them wasting time trying to figure out who to talk to about what. So we have a singular agent concierge who's connected to them, and it's actually a real actual person they can call, text, email, who is their singular point of contact, wherein they can ask them for whatever they need in their business, and that person will either facilitate it or bring it to the right department and then subsequently to the finish line.
I love that. That's good. I mean, being able to address needs quickly and efficiently and that one-to-one, I think is so important in a business, because people don't have time to waste, right? And we want answers today. We want them now. So that's really, really good. That's a key point. Speaking of that engagement and those services, you guys also offer transaction coordination, which I think is really smart, because that's a huge piece of an agent's business. Talk to us about the transaction coordination piece, and also too, like our agents are using SkySlope to be able to turn in their files into the company. Like, can your TCs plug into SkySlope? Are you going to embed into our systems, or do they have to embed into yours?
We very much embed into the agent's business. It's a great question, Kendall, because a lot of them will say, well, show us how to use your system. I say, no, you forget. This isn't a set of tools. This is a do it for you model. So we are operating your business. This is a staff designed to encompass and to support your business. So transaction coordination is sort of dual support. Transaction management in our ecosystem is what we call it. So first off is transaction coordination, exactly what you mentioned, which entails partnering with a local transaction coordinator, because we know that agents have, or many organizations have tried to do transaction coordination at scale. And if you're in New York, you're doing business totally differently than somebody in California. You really need that localized support, somebody who actually understands your market and you don't have to explain every step to. So we partner with a local transaction coordinator for you, and they're uploading everything to your SkySlope. They're taking the paperwork off of your hands. They're going to help to free you up during the transaction, make sure you get paid on time, make sure you're within compliance. I don't know about you, Kendall, but I know when I hit my capacity in transactions was when I knew I was just waiting a month to get paid, because I was so behind on getting my file turned in, right? I know every agent has gone through that experience when they've hit maximum capacity on their transactions. And we want our agents to be able to get paid quickly, to get paid on time, and to ensure that they're getting everything turned in without them obviously having to be the ones to do it. So we're going into their SkySlope, getting it all uploaded in accordance with EXP's requirements, and ensuring that that piece gets taken off their hands. And then in addition to that, they basically have an assistant during the transaction as well. So on the listing side, we're helping to schedule the sign in the yard, and we schedule and we pay for photos, and we send out at our expense to a couple hundred just listed, just sold postcards. On the buy side, we schedule inspections on their behalf. On the tail end of the transaction, we're putting their clients on post-close plans. We get them reviews. We advertise those reviews. So it's all these things that we want to be doing consistently in a transaction, but we often don't because we're busy and we get busy. And then before we know it, it's on to the next transaction. And these things just end up piling up on us, and we're not able to not only provide the client experience that we want to provide, but we're not actually maximizing each transaction and getting the business out of it that we could had we had somebody to help support us in taking some of those things off of our hands.
Wow, that's powerful. I mean, I can only imagine if I had had that level of support when I was first starting out single agent, because you're
You
right,
and me both.
agent and solo. And I mean, I quickly ended up having an assistant, and that changed the game for me, right? Really did, having someone support my business like that. But you're right. I mean, not everyone can afford that salary and the payroll and stopping to train them And so it sounds like you guys take care of training them and selecting them, and which is really great, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, again, we're designed to really support the agent's business and to be able to do it quickly. So when the agent comes to us and says, "Well, I like to do it this way," we say, "Amazing! Our transaction team will manage doing it that way for you." And so ultimately, it's designed to really support your business and also to work itself into your business. We'll show you a better way often, but if you say, "Hey, I really like to be the one to send this email," awesome. We'll help facilitate that on your behalf because we know that how people do transactions is very important and unique to them.
Yeah. So then let's switch gears to some other support you guys provide is lead generation, right? Not to be confused with marketing. We'll talk about marketing separate because to me, I'm sure like you agree with me, those are two separate things.
Yes.
But how does Lever help with lead generation?
Yeah, so this is multiple support, multiple fold support for the lead generation, because I think you and I both hear this a lot. I think that the lie that's been created in real estate is that to solve my sales problem, I need more leads, right? More leads, more leads, more leads will solve everything. Our experience is that's fundamentally untrue. And most agents come to us originally because they might say, I need more leads for my business. And I say, well, if you pour in a bunch of water to a bucket that has holes in it, it's just going to leak out the bottom. So yes, you might need more leads, but you also need a systematic way to follow up with those leads. You need to understand how to convert them at a higher level, depending upon what type of lead generation it is. You need to understand how to build lead generation in a way that helps you build compound interest. You need to know which types of lead generation are going to withstand which types of market. There's a lot that goes into just lead generation beyond I need more leads, right? And so we create multifold support for the agent on the lead generation side. So first is support for however they lead generate. So we're going to do consultations and business building with our agents wherein we understand what is it that you want to build? Do you have enough lead generation levers for that? If you don't, what do you need to add or what should you add based off your skill set, based off what you want to do? And then we give you conversion models and playbooks for however you are lead generating, right? And then in addition to that, you're also getting access to priority Ojo Movoto leads in your location as well. So not only are we designed to help you convert at a higher level, to continuously keep you in front of your business, but also to add to the business should you want as well. Because like I said, leads are important. They're not the most important. If you don't have all the other systems behind you, they're just going to fall on the floor. And yet for the agents that have all of that, because they're with our platform, they also get priority access to those leads as well. Part of the impetus for this whole platform was to create a more direct connection to those agents that are converting at a higher level and providing a better client experience because they have support to do so. And so we want to give them additional opportunities to grow their business and provide that experience.
Oh, that's good. That's super good. So then with marketing, how do you guys support with marketing? I mean, my understanding, you guys do quite a few things on the marketing side as well to help like with brand awareness and identity and stuff like that. So talk to us about the marketing piece.
Yeah. So my experience with marketing for most agents is that not only is it very inconsistent, right? Because it's like, how do I feel today? And that's kind of what I'm able to drum up in Canva or whatever I have access to. And it goes out inconsistently. But what I remind people often is the way you build a brand is by having a very consistent marketing going out that has actual brand identity and has an actual reason for going out, right? It's not just recipe cards you're throwing out there to get in front of people. There's a reason that you're sending out marketing and there's something that you want that marketing to do on your behalf. And without a strategy, then you're just sort of throwing things out there. And so the way that we start with every agent is we build them a brand guideline. And what I mean by that is like, Kendall, what's your logo? What's your color scheme? How do you want to be recognized by the consumer, right? Like you've got a great tagline and you've got great marketing. So when I see Kendall, I know who I'm talking to, right? And I know which team is in front of me. But for most agents, they don't have any consistency there. So the consumer never actually builds a relationship with their brand. And I always give the example of the reason we recognize the Nike logo is because it's never changed. It's always the same. And we want to create that same environment for the agent. So that's how we start with them. We build their brand guideline, we build their logo, we build their color scheme so that it's always consistent. And then from there, we proactively build all their marketing. So it's done, again, a do-it-for-you model. It's done on their behalf and delivered to them. So just listed, just sold, under contracts, listing presentations, buyer presentations, social media suites, monthly newsletters, event marketing, flyers, postcards, literally everything they could need. One of the many benefits of comprehensive support is that you don't really have to ask for things because we help you operate your whole business. So we know what you need usually before you ask for it.
Good. I mean, I'll never forget with my team when I went out on my own and started the Kendall Bonner team in Tampa. Brand identity was super important, and I hired someone in-house, marketing coordinator, and we had to sit down and do the brand guidelines, had to pick
Yes.
our color scheme, our slogans, our rebuild and redesign our logos. Like, my logos went through a couple of iterations before we settled on its current look. And but I'll never forget how it changed the game for my marketing, and
Yep.
like totally see it even in my Instagram. You could see when I got on brand and then when I got off brand, right? You totally see it visually, and
Totally.
it was a thing. So that's so funny. That's awesome. And it's super important. I think like it's a mental and literal game changer for your business because, like you said, people start to recognize it, and then they start to trust it because it's consistent. Absolutely. So then the last piece here is database management, right? So you guys also help with, because we talked about this too earlier with the lead generation and all of that, like how sometimes it's not just about the new leads, it's how do you take care of your existing database.
Yes.
Most agents are not like online lead generators. They're, nurturing their sphere of influence. I mean, I find
Yeah.
like the most typical agent resource for business. So talk to us about database management. Like, whose CRM are you guys using? Are you, again, like, are you plugging into their system? Are they plugging into yours? How does all of that work? How the follow-up plans work? Like, just talk to us a little bit about that. Tease the kids.
Yes. So we're there to operate your business. You own it. You own your brand. You own your business. So we're jumping into your database, whichever one you use. So if you use KB Core or Follow Up Boss or Lofty or like whatever it is that you're using, we're there to support your database. And the way that we do this, the example I always give is most people don't recognize how expensive it is to bring new business in and to not operate the business that they already have should they operate it correctly, right? And so what I explain is that most agents are working way harder than they need to be. I always tell this in one of my favorite stories. We had an agent who joined us in Georgia who came to me and said, I really, all this support sounds great. This is all awesome, but really I just need more leads, Nikki. And I said, okay, well, let's dig into that. Let's get an understanding of your business and then we'll go from there. And we started talking about some of her challenges and where she wanted to grow. And finally, we get to her database, and she says, "Yeah, I have 15,000 people in my database." And I said, "I think you mean 1,500." And she goes, "No, I didn't. I didn't misspeak. It's 15,000." I said, "Honey, you don't need another lead ever. You just need to actually talk to that database consistently." And you will have more business than you know what to do with. But the challenge for most agents is because they don't know how or because they don't have the time to be in front of their database consistently, they don't actually get the fruit of that database. And so
Mm.
so many agents are working so hard. Kendall, you and I see this all the time. Agents are working their tail off to just get something in the pipeline for the next 30, 60, 90 days. And they never actually build a system behind them to automatically generate business into the database, to stay in front of the people who might already know them and like them and trust them, but they don't think of them when they think of real estate because the agent can't be in front of that many people at once. And so what we do is the agent no longer has to manage anything in their database. So all they need to know how to do is add people and label them. Assuming they can do that, everybody in their database will get a minimum of 37 touch points a year. Our average is usually around 100 touch points a year, but it's all designed and curated to keep them in front of that consumer consistently long term. And they are all proprietary to our organization. And these are not like recipe cards or holiday campaigns. These are actual curated touch points designed to be in communication with them and designed for response. So they're designed to get the consumer to respond to the agent, to wake up conversations that they otherwise would not have had. And I can't tell you how many agents come to us thinking, well, I need more leads. And then we manage their database for 90 days and they're like, make it stop. It's too much at once. And I'm like, yes, this all lives in your business already. You're just not communicating with it consistently enough. And that's how all these layers of support help agents hit some of these astronomical growth numbers that we see in our ecosystem.
Wow, that is so good. I mean, I can't find any fault with any of this. Like, check. So good. I guess the last thing I would say is, and I'm sure the burning question on everyone's mind is like, what does the agent pay for all this? Like, what do they get, and like, what is it costing the agent? Can you talk to us about that piece?
Totally. So I love that. By the way, like that's where everybody gets at this point. They're like, "This is all great. What's up? What's the cost and what's the catch?" No catch. And the way that we structure this is just similarly to how we built the support model. I just asked myself a very similar question, which is, what does everybody want? But more importantly, what agents are actually better at is articulating what they don't want, right? And so I looked up and realized, okay, in order to get this level of support around you, you're looking at, depending upon where you are in the world, between $5,000 to $8,000 a month, usually, of outbound expense. And so most agents will never get the support that they need because they don't want to take on that type of overhead, which I totally understand. Like, put aside managing it, training it, all of that. Like, they just simply won't take on that type of overhead. So therefore, they never get the support. And alternatively, most want to be on some type of scalable model, and don't want to give up their brand and their production. So they want to be able to have to be able to do more and therefore also make more. And so I said, okay, I get it. You want to protect your downside and you want to be able to scale. So you want to protect your upside. And I don't know about you, Kendall, but I also knew for me when I built this out, I had paid for umpteen things in my own real estate business that were just an awesome deal for the company that sold it to me, but not such a great deal for me. And I'm like every other agent in the world that absolutely has had shiny object syndrome and put down my credit card thinking that thing was going to change my life, and it just didn't. And so what I wanted above all was a model wherein we literally don't succeed unless the agent succeeds. And so we put all of those things together to build the financial model for Lever. And then we came to our partners at EXP and said, how do we make this an even better opportunity for the agents? And very generously, you helped us figure out a way to make it an even lesser burden financially on the agent. And so there's a very small monthly subscription fee, and then everything else is pay by success. We wanted the agent to be able to plug into a staff from day one immediately and to have a little bit of skin in the game to ensure that they used it. And so through our partnership with EXP, they have access to an even lower monthly fee or yearly fee, whatever they choose. And then everything else is pay by success. So we quite literally will not succeed unless they succeed. And we designed it such that it scales with them. So the better the agent does, the more they make.
Absolutely. So what should an agent do if after watching this video, they're like, I want in, I want to learn more, I want to get signed up, I want more details. What do they do?
They should go to lever.movoto.com, which will make sure that we put in the comments that we throw on this video so that they can access, or lever.movoto.com/exp so they can learn more about our partnership and how this is uniquely offered to them through all of your generosity. And so that would be next step. We want agents to go to an info session or schedule an interview. We do require that every agent that joins us actually goes through an interview, because much like all of you, we want to make sure that you're the right fit for us, that we're the right fit for you, that this is actually going to be what gets you to where you want to go, and that this is actually going to be what gets you to the success that you're looking for. We designed this to help agents win, and we want to make sure we're going to be able to do that for you.
I love it. And I can never say no to a win-win model, like when everyone's winning, that is so key. So thank you so much, Nikki, for your time today. You are such a fabulous interview and a wonderful human being and dear friend. So I appreciate you. And thank you to our audience. You guys are amazing. And if you want to see more interviews like this, let us know in the comments, but please go check out Lever. And we'll have links in the comments, in the description, for you to go click, learn more, and get signed up, because this is such a great program and it's so worth every single penny of investment, because you only have so much time, money, and energy to invest. So you want to make sure you get that return. All right. So thanks so much, everyone. You have a great day. And thank you again, Nikki. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. See everybody soon.
Bye.